How much is demand down right now? How bad could it get?
Alex, hi. Thanks for having me today. It's bad. March is somewhere between 16 and 18 million barrels per day in demand reduction that we're going to see. April's going to be worse. Our best estimates at the moment are around 22 million barrels, but that number keeps rising as we recalculate our numbers each day. So demand destruction is unprecedented, which is a word I hear on your show a lot these days, but it's true of the oil industry.
So I guess the question in everyone's mind is how much more available storage is out there, and when do we have to have the conversation about tank tops?
We're having the conversation today. I think we're going to build 1 billion barrels over the next couple of months. It's a vast amount of oil. It's an imperfect science determining how many barrels we can tank in onshore tanks. At best, it's going to be 700 to 800 million. That is a complicated thing to do. It's not so easy to fill all of these tanks in every location in the world. The conversation is therefore moving on right now to floating storage using crude oil tankers as effectively tanks, floating tanks. And this is a conversation that's begun already.
And part of that is you have to have prices that are cheap enough now and expensive later on in order to make floating storage financially viable. What is that spread, and how low do prices go to hit that?
Sure, that's contango. So we are in a contango market, particularly in the prompt. You're looking at WTI in the very front at about $3 per month per barrel. Brent is around $2.50. You can store on land-based tanks at these levels, no problem. It's borderline for vessels at the moment, probably needs to go deeper. You have to remember freight rates have been rallying on the back of this. The owners of these vessels are aware that they're going to be needed for storage, and they're probably one of the big winners out of this. The freight rates are going up. They've had a difficult decade, wet freight owners, but I think they're doing pretty well at the moment.
When do you think production gets shut in now?
Problem is it's not immediate. I think you're seeing it creep around the edges at this price level. I think we have Brent around $26, depending on which month. You've got TI lower. I think production has started shutting in, but very gently. It's not so easy to turn these wells off. People always want to talk about the Permian. Is this the first ones to go? It is your high-cost producers who are going to be the first to go. That's some South American countries, Canada, and yes, the Permian. I think it's slow at the moment. It's a slow process. Prices probably need to go lower to look after this demand shock that we have.
How low?
Lower than here. I think we're going at probably $10 lower. You need a combination of lower prices to stop people bringing a commodity out of the ground that the world does not need at the moment. We've had a demand shock in excess of 20 million barrels. We can't store all of this over the coming months. You need to incentivize people to store contango, as you mentioned, which will probably go deeper. You need lower prices. It's the same as any business. You can either hold on to something for longer or drop your price so that people use it. And that's the situation for the crude oil market at the moment.